Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So before we get started, there's a couple things that I just wanted to talk with y'all about. I didn't post a video this past Monday because my great-grandfather passed away, and he passed away this week. And this past weekend he really took a decline, so he has been having a lot of difficulties for about the past 2.5 months, and him and my great-grandmother have been married for 68 years. So it was a very difficult process with her, just because obviously when you're with someone for that long, like I can't even imagine being with someone for 68 years. Like that is so long. And so as you can imagine, when he passed and as he was getting ready to pass, it was very difficult for her. So my entire family basically rallied around both of them. We had people coming into town, and I have just been really trying to be surrounded by family right now. It's been really hard, but at the same time, I'm thankful that he had such a beautiful passing. Like, he was surrounded by his entire family on Saturday. His daughter, my great aunt, flew in from New Jersey. Like, everyone came and surrounded him. And actually this past Memorial Day, he was recognized. He served in World War II. And he received 3 different military medals during that time whenever he served. So he was actually recognized for the first time for those medals. And he and my great-grandmother were able to kind of have this giant celebration, because he was always one of those types of people who just kept those things to himself. He wasn't anyone who needed to boast about his accomplishments or anything that he did. So it was just really beautiful that, like, actually no one in the family except for him, like even his own children, my grandmother and great aunt, didn't know that he had received medals from his time serving in World War II. So it was kind of a shock to all of us, because we were trying to get him VA benefits and all of that kind of stuff, to just ease the transition and, you know, just all of that end of life sort of care. So anyways, that is where I have been. And I just wanted to come on here and say that I'm very thankful for all of my subscribers who just let me have that time whenever anything happens in my life, whether it be school becomes overwhelming, or if something with my family comes up, or I just need a break. I'm just really thankful for all of you who still support me, even whenever I'm not posting all of the time. So I wanted to say thank you. I am actually going to be posting 3 videos this week. I have not been feeling like doing my makeup at all. I'm just not in that place right now. I'm not feeling creative. But with that being said, I'm still going to have, obviously, makeup content going live on my channel 3 times a week. So I have this video, which is my favorite blush formula video. And I kind of started this about 1.5 months ago, where I've just been going through different items within my collection and talking about my favorite formulas. And I feel like that's necessary for me to talk about, because, you know, we have these favorite products, like individual products that come and go with the different months. And I really like favorite videos at the end of every month. I think that's awesome. But since I'm doing Project Pan, I don't want it to be too repetitive, because I am using a lot of those products to try to use them up for my Project Pan. Sometimes I'll have a favorite video at the end of the month if I just find myself using different products. So I did want to also have a video where I get to talk about some of my favorite products in general. And these specifically are products that I have either purchased several of the same formula, or I am just absolutely in love and I am going to be purchasing more of the same formula, but I just haven't done so yet. So with that being said, there's also something else that I wanted to talk to you about, because this week I was going to post a very colorful, bright and vibrant makeup tutorial for the summer months, just something fun. But as I mentioned, I am just not in that headspace right now. So it's either going to be postponed a week or two. But I did just want to give a shout out to one of my subscribers here on YouTube. Her name is Crystal. She was so sweet, and she sent me the Coastal Scent Smoky palette, and this comes with 36 eyeshadow colors. So we have a palette right here. It's very similar to Morphe packaging. And then on the inside, we have a ton of really gorgeous colors. So I'll show you a little bit of a close-up. We have so many vibrant colors, and then a pretty good amount of mattes, shimmers, and metallics in here as well. So when she sent this to me, I was really excited. As soon as I opened it up, I swatched it and I was like, yes, I cannot wait to use this. I know that I've been talking a lot about my Weekend Festival palette by BH Cosmetics, and I think this is going to be a great addition to that. And it has a lot of colors that are going to work very well with that palette, as well as just by itself. Like, I love how we have this whole range of pinks and purples over here, and then blues and greens, and then kind of more of our neutral shades over here. So I'm really excited about using this palette, and I did want to give her a shout out because that is just amazing to me. The fact that someone out there in YouTube universe cared enough about me to send me something that really touched my heart, and I'm very thankful for you, Crystal, and also all of my subscribers on here. You guys mean so much to me, and you really do make my days so much brighter, especially like reading through the comments and just connecting with y'all and doing the live videos that I've done recently. I just feel connected to you, and that means a lot to me, especially whenever I'm going through things. So I just wanted to give you a shout out and let you know that I appreciate this palette so much. Thank you, and I will be using it as soon as I'm out of this morning funk, trying to support everyone and myself. You know how it goes. So thank you so much, but without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right, so we do have a pretty good mixture of affordable and more high-end blush formulas here. One of these is relatively new to my collection, and then the rest I've had for quite some time. So these are my ride or die formulas. They are the blushes that I go to whenever I am wanting that pigment payoff. Also, these blushes have lasted, especially like the ones I've had for a long time, they have lasted me forever. So I love the fact that I am able to have a blush that is super pigmented, very creamy, lasts on my face all day, and I'm not having to replace it all the time, even though I'm going through it a lot. So the first, oh my gosh, can't talk. The first formula I have is the most recent like addition to my collection. So this is the Ciate London Date Night. So I don't know exactly, I feel like this is the only blush they have, but first off, the packaging is super cute. You can see that. So we have this cute little bow in the center, and then we have a bunch of stars with this kind of a creamy background. It's really beautiful. And then on the inside, we have the actual blush. So this is what it looks like. It is in the shade Date Night. And whenever I saw this in the store, I think it was during the Sephora sale, like 20% off or whatever. So this reminds me a lot of the Hourglass ambient lighting blushes, which I also love, and I have one of those. But this one, the pigment payoff is a lot better. Sometimes with the Hourglass blush, I feel like I'm getting more of that luminosity, even though I really swirl my brush around. I'm not necessarily getting a ton of the actual color, but this one I'm actually getting the blush with a little bit of luminosity to it. So I'll go ahead and swatch it for you. But this one is so beautiful. It's right here. You can see it just gives a nice, beautiful wash of kind of like a terracotta rose is how I would describe it. And I really love this pretty much year round because it has that terracotta rose undertone to it. It's not going to be like a coral blush, which is really mostly appropriate for spring and summertime, but this also works really well in the spring and summertime because it does have that luminosity and that glow to it. I have never, every single time I've used this, had a problem with it lasting on my cheeks. Sometimes with different blushes that I've had, the color will wear off throughout the day, or sometimes it'll even break up my foundation, which obviously is very frustrating, but this formula is absolutely gorgeous. And as you can see, the pigment is really, really nice, especially for a luminous blush. This is not going to be something that you have to worry about that pigment payoff at all. All right. Next up, we have the Too Faced Heart Blushes. This one, so they're technically called the Love Flush Long Lasting 16-Hour Blush. So obviously it says that they're 16-hour wear, but these really do last all day on my face. I picked these up like a year ago, I want to say, during the 21 days of Ulta Beauty sale. And I picked up these two colors. Obviously, they're very, very different from each other. This one is I Will Always Love You. First off, the packaging is freaking adorable. I can't even stand it. And then on the inside, it's like upside down. I'll show you this. We have the really beautiful imprint. We have little bunny rabbits and then Too Faced and just a really cute little pictured imprint. So this one I absolutely adore for spring and summertime. It is the perfect flush of like a very pale peachy shade. So excuse me, this is it right here. It just gives a gorgeous shade to the cheeks. I feel like if you are blonde, this is going to work super, super well for you, just because I love whenever pale blondes have that like flush of peach on their cheeks. I think that looks so beautiful. As well as if you are really, really dark and tan, I think this is going to look equally as gorgeous on you. I think it's just one of those universal blushes that is going to look beautiful on everyone. And then, excuse me, next up we have Your Love is King, which is kind of like a raisin. So this one I feel like is one of my go-to blushes for the, excuse me, I have like a tickle in my throat. For the winter and the fall months, it definitely is like that kind of raisin cranberry berry shade. It is so, so beautiful. But what I love about this color in particular is that you don't need to necessarily worry about, sorry, I'm like really struggling with my voice right now. You don't need to worry about whether or not you have a cool tone eye or a warm toned eye, because you could really pull either one with this blush. This is a very universal blush. It's not going to be just for one type of eye look. So that is why I love this blush so much. Also, I don't know if you can really notice, but they are technically matte, but at the same time, they do have a little touch of kind of luminosity to them in a way that they don't look chalky, if that makes any sense at all. So they are matte blushes, but they're not going to look powdery on your face at all. They kind of just give this really beautiful natural finish. And like I did mention earlier, they last so long on the cheeks. They're just absolutely beautiful. And a little tiny bit goes a long way. Like I have hardly even made a dent in the imprint. And this one in particular, I used a ton for this past winter and fall season. So we still have the raised up bunnies. One of them has lost their eyes, but yeah, it's just one of those formulas that is going to last you a really, really long time, even if you do use it every single day. Okay, so now I have two very affordable brands before we move on to probably the most expensive blush that I have. So next up we have the Colourpop blushes. I have three of them. So the first one I have is called Aphrodisiac. And it's a really cool blush. I honestly don't have anything else in my collection like this. Honestly, depending on your skin tone, you could probably wear this as a bronzer. For me, I would have to be a little bit deeper than I am right now to wear this as a bronzer, but just looking at it in the pan, it reminds me a lot of a bronzer shade. But this is such a cool color. Like, I don't even know what to describe it other than terracotta. So it's right here, and it really does just look like kind of a brick terracotta. It's not too red, but it's just red enough. So I love to wear this whenever I am working with very very warm tones on my eyes. So if I'm working with bronzy shades, gold shades, chocolate brown, stuff like that, I love to use this blush for that reason, just because the color is so unique and different. And it kind of, like, I have never used it as a bronzer before, but whenever I have my bronzer on and then I use that, it just gives an even greater glow to my skin. Like, it looks like I just spent the entire day in the sun because it hits you right in that nice area. So it's absolutely gorgeous. And then next up we have Between the Sheets, which is very similar to that. So it has kind of that peachy terracotta undertone, but this one is not quite as deep, and it definitely has a lot more peach in it. So I'll swatch it next to it. So this one is Between the Sheets right here. As you can see, it has a tiny little bit of peach to it. So it's not quite as terracotta as Aphrodisiac, but we still have some of that brown undertone to it. That one is absolutely gorgeous if you are working with warm tones as well. And then next up we have Rain, which is like probably one of the most unique blushes that I have in my collection. It is a straight purple. So it's a very beautiful violet, like kind of a deep violet is how I would categorize it. So this one I love to wear very specifically. So this is what it looks like on my skin. As you can see, it is very, very cool toned, but I love to wear that specific blush whenever I am very fair, whenever I am more like this skin tone or darker than this. This color does not work very well on me because I do have more of that olive yellow undertone. But whenever I am super fair and I don't have like as much olive in my skin tone at that time, so definitely during the winter months, not so much the fall because I'm still outside during that time, but whenever it gets really cold and I am just my absolute palest, that is whenever I will pull this out for my cool tone looks. I love to wear this around Christmas time because it gives just such a beautiful, unique glow to the cheeks. So what I love about the actual formula of these blushes is that, first off, they're unique in the sense that I only apply them really with a duo fiber brush because they do have kind of that bouncy, like watery consistency, and they go on best with a duo fiber brush. Like, I'll show you if I can find it. Sorry, I don't know why my dog is freaking out right now. Okay, I think I'm washing. Oh, here's one. Okay, so this is one of the brushes that I will use. This is by Real Technique. See how it has the white fibers that are kind of poking out from the black right here? So this is one of the brushes, and I will just swirl it in. And I have used these two quite a bit, like honestly a ton, and I haven't even put that big of a dent in them because they are very, very pigmented. This is a formula that I really like to wear whenever I don't put powder over my cheeks because it mixes in very well with foundation. It's not going to be one of those blushes that breaks up your foundation. You can definitely put it on without having to put powder on top of it, which is why I love to use the duo fiber brush for that. So the formula lasts a really long time and it's super easy to use, plus they're affordable. I think $8, and these go on sale pretty often, I would say. So if you want to just like save up, that is probably a really good way to go because I feel like Colourpop does sales often enough to where you could actually get them at the discounted price, but still $8 for a full-size blush. And the packaging is obviously heavy duty. We have the twist off cap. It's just really nice, so I love those. Next up, we have the Wet n Wild Color Icon blushes. I have two of them. This one right here is called a Pearlescent Pink. And then we also have Rosé Champagne. So Rosé Champagne is a very unique color. If you can see, it's right here. It's super, super pale. It's honestly kind of like a pale bronzer shade. I don't know, like that's how I would describe it. These are definitely luminous. So it's right here, if you can see. This I like to wear whenever I am more pale, or I will kind of use it as a blush topper over something that is more warm tone, because it is very luminous. It is hitting the light. It's really, really beautiful. And I love this blush formula in the sense that it's very creamy, very pigmented, but it's very luminous. So you'll see this one, Pearlescent Pink, is a very pinky with a peach undertone. So I'll show you right here. Obviously this one is a lot darker than that one because that one goes more with my skin color, but this one is a pinky peach undertone, and this one is very luminous as well. So if you are looking for a very affordable blush formula that is going to kind of give like a highlight glow to your cheeks, this one is awesome. I've never had a problem with these blushes lasting a long time. Sometimes if I use the Rosé Champagne one as a blush whenever I'm not quite dark, or whenever I'm not quite light enough, I'm sorry, it won't show up quite as well. But the actual formula is very, very buttery and creamy, almost to the point to where it's not dusty, but there is a little bit of kickback because it's so creamy. And that's the only way I can describe it. Like the kick up from this blush doesn't even, like, you can't blow it off because it's not dusty. It's just so finely milled that it has a little bit of that kickback. But these are amazing. Honestly, like, I went out and I purchased another one of their brand new blushes from, it's like the Hummingbird collection or whatever, and I'm super impressed. So I'll be wearing that as well. But I'm really excited about Wet n Wild. I feel like their collections are just getting better and better, but those are some of my go-to blushes, like, of all time. I love them a lot. And then last up, we have my favorite blush formula of all time. Those who have been around, take a guess, because, well, I'm like kind of showing it in my hand, but you probably already know what is coming. So we have the Tarte Amazonian Clay blushes. I have 4 of them, and I have 2 big ones and 2 minis. So what can I say about these blushes? I have had exposed for 2.5, 3 years, something like that. And I have not made a dent in it. I'm pretty sure it's in my project. Yeah, it's in my project pan. And I don't think I'm going to end up panning it because it is just like, you can't pan a Tarte blush. Like, it just does not work. I don't know what's going on. But I love this formula. They are pigmented, creamy, opaque, wearable. Like, all of the shades that I've ever had from Tarte are super, super wearable. I also forgot I have, let me see if I can grab it. Where are you? Sorry, I'm like down below in my drawer here. Okay, I don't know where it went, but I had, oh, there it is. Sorry, I did want to just grab this, but I had also the Tarte Bling It On palette, which has 5 blushes, which are just amazing. So obviously, looking at these are super wearable. They have shades that are gorgeous for every single skin tone. So like this one right here is very pale, but will look gorgeous on very pale skin. We also have different types of formula in the sense of they're all the same formula, but we have mattes and shimmers and very shimmery. So I'm just obsessed with Tarte blushes. They are my favorite formula of all time. But first up, we have Exposed. So let me get this, if I can do this without like getting my nail all jacked up. All right, this for me is the most universal everyday blush that I have in my collection. It looks super pale on camera for some reason, but I will swatch it for you. I just can't with this color. It's so pretty. I don't know if you can see that very well. Yeah. So this is like my everyday, like super pale mauve, I guess is how I would categorize this. So that is Exposed. And then we have Glisten, which is one of my favorite formulas ever for the summertime. It is a very gorgeous pink, and then the shimmer in it is a gorgeous gold. So I will show you. Oh, this is so pretty. Right here is glisten. So if you can see that, it just reflects the light very well. I love it so much. And this formula in particular gives just a very nice wash to the cheeks. It's pigmented, but at the same time, you're not going to be scared to dip your brush in the formula. You know what I mean? Like, I have the e.l.f. Quad of blushes, and I love that, but at the same time, I will dip my brush into it, and sometimes I'm like, tap off the excess really, really hard because it's just not user-friendly sometimes. So this is the shade Exposed, which is a very beautiful wash of like a baby doll pink. So, or no, this is Partay, sorry. So right here, sorry, I'm not like trying to flip y'all off, but this one is absolutely gorgeous. Another everyday shade for me. I love it so much. And then finally we have Memorable. And then I have like obviously this Tarte palette, which was, I'm pretty sure, limited edition. So I'm not going to swatch those for you. But this one, Memorable, is a very beautiful pinky rose shade, but it has just a tiny little bit of glitter in it. So it's going to reflect the light as well on your cheeks. So I love these formulas. Honestly, like, I just can't get enough. If I could recommend any formula for blush that's high end, or any formula in general, like not even high end, I would say pick these up. They always have new like kits like this, which if you guys, I'll do kind of just a little close up so you can see. So Tarte pretty much always has a blush in their palettes. A lot of the eye palettes that I have from Tarte have a blush and stuff, and honestly, their formula pretty much never changes. I don't think I've ever had a face or an eye palette from Tarte where I was upset with the blush. That's never happened to me. I've been upset with the eyes, but never the blush. So I cannot recommend this formula enough. I love it so much, which is another reason why I'm like, Tarte, you need to get on your game because you got some good products that people love. So yeah, that is the end of this video. I honestly feel exhausted now. I am going to be getting my Wishlist Wednesday video up. I'm going to film that right now, but I'm just... I've had a hell of a week, so I'm trying really hard to stay positive and just stay in my happy place and in my zone. I can't promise that things are going to be super consistent over the next week or two, but I'm going to try my darnest to get content up for you. I don't know if it's going to stay on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, but I'm going to try very hard to do that, and in the very least, at least get 3 videos up for you every week. So with that being said, I hope that this was fun for you. I like talking about formulas because I feel like my camera just overheated and I honestly don't even remember what I was saying. I think it was along the lines of just feeling very tired, but yeah, I am just trying to like stay in my groove and stay positive with everything. So I hope that this was fun for y'all. I just feel like, oh, that's what I was going to say. I think the beauty industry is just so saturated with products that I feel like it's important for us to talk about the actual formula and what's good and what's not good, or really just if we want to stay positive, what's good. So that's why I have been wanting to just talk more about my actual formulas, because to me, that is what it's all about, is just purchasing products that actually do what they're supposed to do. So yeah, I hope that this video was informational. I don't even know. I have like no sleep at all the past couple of days. So, informal? No. That's not right. You know what I'm trying to say. I hope it was helpful to you. So please let me know down below in the comments what your favorite blush formulas are. I would definitely love to know, so maybe I could pick up a couple. So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this up because I need to get on to my next one. I will see you guys soon. Bye.